Welcome back, Lake listeners. Thank you for coming back with more of Season 4 with our Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast. Today, we're excited to have our first Community Spotlight episode highlighting an amazing business here at Lake of the Ozarks. This business continues to keep the community engaged and growing, helping local businesses market at a larger scale. Here to share more about it is one of my new friends, Miss Heather Brown, the Executive Director of the Lake of the Ozarks Convention and Visitors Bureau. Heather, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to talk about you and all that the CVB does for Lake of the Ozarks.
I'm really excited to be here, and I love this platform and what you're doing down here at the lake. This is wonderful. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Heather, I just wanted to start this episode with you just telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself and kind of where you found the passion to get involved with the CVB.
Yeah. So, as many young people do, you have this big grand dream of like exactly what you're going to do in life. And that was me. I was going to be like a journalist. I wanted to be like a news anchor or something like that. I went and job shadowed my freshman year and said, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Why would I ever do this? And so you're carrying your own camera. You're carrying all your stuff in stilettos and nobody wants to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, I'm out. So I quickly started researching and deciding, what do I want to do? And I stumbled upon public relations and marketing. And so then I quickly started job shadowing a PR firm out of Jefferson City, and all of her clients were tourism. So she was a previous Missouri Division of Tourism director.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she took me in. I interned, I job shadowed, which turned into an internship, a paid internship at that, which was phenomenal. And I stayed with her for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And so Lake of the Ozarks was one of her clients. Well, I'm from the lake, so I knew a lot about the lake, but you don't know a lot about the lake. I mean, there's living here and then there's promoting the lake, and those are two separate worlds. And so I was pretty excited to learn more, got heavily involved with the tourism side of things, and then I just fell in love with marketing and public relations from that point forward. And of course, life, I got married, life took me in different directions as far as like where we lived, but then when we had the opportunity to move back, I knew that I wanted to make sure I stayed in marketing, and I dabbled in event planning, things like that. And then when an opportunity came along at the Convention and Visitor Bureau, I applied and started at the bottom and worked my way up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And I completely agree with you that those are two separate things.
Yes.
Living here and marketing is totally different.
Yes.
In some previous conversation that we've had, I know that we've talked about how a lot of people at Lake of the Ozarks are not too familiar with the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
That's correct.
I even, used to work there like we've talked about, and I remember before getting into real estate and being there, I was blown away coming into the CVB and learning everything that you guys do. So what exactly does the CVB provide to the Lake of the Ozarks community? Like, what do you guys do?
Okay, so one thing that just blows people's mind, which I love giving like facts and like little tidbits of cool information, is we've been around since 1932.
No way.
So a lot of people, a lot of the chambers, some of them came in the 70s, 80s. They're kind of newer if you look at it in that respect. But as soon as the lake was built, a group of community leaders said people are going to travel all over the U.S. to see this huge man-made body of water.
Right.
It was the largest this side of the Mississippi when it was built, and so it was so huge and massive that they said people are going to come from all over. So we really need to figure out a way to let people know we're here.
Yeah.
That's when they started the Lake Area Association, and that was in 1932. And so it evolved over the years where they started involving different communities. They started evolving to where the name changed to what I call the longest name in history, Lake of the Ozarks Convention and Visitor Bureau. But that is a common DMO name. Mm-hmm. That is. So the reason they would evolve the name is because once things became, other areas started promoting and focusing on tourism as well, then everyone started having this similar name, so people would recognize it when you're looking for information.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of there's they call them like tourism boards or visitor bureaus. But they're all pretty similar. Everyone knows you're going to go to a CVB when you're looking for tourism information. So we've been around for a really, really long time. A lot of people don't realize we are membership based. So we operate very much like a chamber in that sense. So you join, and then we help promote you. A lot of people don't realize that we promote more than just what you would call the standard tourism businesses. We also have about 50% of our membership, which is business and service, because, realtors, tourism is heavy in their world, whether you're a second homeowner, whether you're going to rent out your property, buy it as an investment property, the commercial end of it obviously is heavily affected by tourism. So we have a lot of business and service members that support tourism around here. Whether you're a plumber, people say, oh, well, tourism's touching them down the way. No, they wouldn't have the workflow that they have if it wasn't for the influx. These businesses wouldn't be as busy. If we didn't have tourism. The second homeowners, we wouldn't have that influx of people. I mean, there's just it all melds together into one big pot is what it does. And so then what we also do, I think for many, many years, they focused on only promoting outside of our market because we're only bringing visitors, right? So we'll let the chambers cover the local area and then we'll promote outside. Well, that was a huge I would call it a misstep, honestly, because then people don't know who you are when you are in the community trying to tell them why you should be a part of what we do. So we have focused, and over the last few years, and especially since I came on board about a year ago, is local involvement. I mean, we've always been involved, but really promoting what we do, how we're supporting the community. We support different charities. We sit on different boards. So we are very heavily involved with the local community and we support the local businesses. And so, we really want to make sure that we partner with the chambers in that aspect. So we're membership based. We have funlake.com, which is the visitor website that we draw the visitors to when they're making their decision on whether they need to come to Lake of the Ozarks. We have the visitor guide, which is a print publication, and we have the restaurant guide. So we kind of have those three pieces, which we call as the fulfillment piece to our ad campaign when we're trying to get visitors here.
Okay. And I'm glad that we're talking about the membership based because that's where I kind of want to transition to.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on just what you offer to local businesses here at Lake of the Ozarks and how they can benefit from those services by being a member?
Absolutely. So first of all, our membership is extremely affordable. As everything, has inflation around us right now and just going through the roof, we are keeping our prices the same. And, it's between $195 and $395. You're a member. I mean, it's really, really affordable. It's yearly.
Is that for the year?
Yes, that's yearly. That includes, you get on funlake.com, you get a listing, which includes photos, description, contact information. For an additional $75 a year, you can link out to your website or a social media page if that's what you're using as your URL, which I recommend having a website, by the way. Just a little plug there. Social medias can go in and out. You can have issues, but websites are there to stay.
Right.
So you get prominent traffic on funlake.com. Like I mentioned, all of the ad campaign draws people to funlake.com. So by doing so, you are getting all that exposure of about 1 million visitors a year, which is a huge amount of exposure.
That is huge.
Yeah. You also have the opportunity to have any of our market research. We go and take photos of just the lake in general to use in our promotions and our ad campaigns. And as a member, you have that opportunity to have those photos and use for your marketing as well, free of charge. And then we also have our membership list. You're welcome to have that and do some business-to-business marketing and promotions. You can also, by being a member, it just gives you a little more of a step up to reach people before they arrive. So there's a whole list of benefits. Those are just a few. We work on a lot of legislative issues. We work on statewide issues. And so we are that arm for you. So by you supporting us, we then can also be your advocate on a statewide level.
That's amazing. Now, are you guys still partnered or with the Tri-County Lodging Association as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So we're two separate organizations. They have a board. We have our board. What they do is they have the lodging tax. So the 3% lodging tax in Camden and Morgan County, and then there's a 5% lodging tax in Miller.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Those tax dollars go to a business district that operates those funds, decides how they're spent. They hire Tri-County Lodging Association to administer the whole ad campaign and to put it all in motion.
Awesome.
Yes. So we have already been there. We were there before that organization was established. We're doing a lot of what they need. So what they decided to do was pay us for services. So we are their fulfillment arm to their ad campaign. So they place the ad campaign. They have the money to do so. and then we draw them to funlake.com, which is ours, and the print pieces that I mentioned earlier. And so we're the fulfillment piece to them.
Well, I love that. And that's another, I love how we're vibing with this conversation, because that's exactly where I wanted to go next was, could you elaborate more on the vacation guide, restaurant guide, and the Fun Lake website? I know I pull up Fun Lake like every day, almost.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's really comprehensive. I mean, we cover 3 counties. So, once again, I just have to really keep reiterating that we work with every chamber. We have multiple chambers in this area. We have Eldon for sales. We have Lake West. We have Camden, and we have Lake Area. So we have 5 that we work really exclusively with, and we try to partner. We support them. They support us. So they have a lot of great information. However, where we are a little bit different than them is we cover the 3 counties. So we are a one-stop shop, whereas they cover their geographic area. And so we are really a full comprehensive website. So you don't have to join. We always encourage everyone to join your local chamber. There's so many amazing benefits for that. And we actually have that in our membership packet, is their information to join. So we want people to join their chamber. But we, once again, they do more of the local business-to-business marketing. We have that fulfillment on the tourism side of things. And like I said, we cover 3 counties. So if you're a business and you want to get exposure and get a huge, big bang for your buck, you need to come to us, because we're covering the 3 counties. So you're getting on funlake.com. You're getting those right around 1 million visitors a year to that website. It fluctuates each year, but around 1 million visitors to a website specifically looking for Lake of the Ozarks. If you want added exposure, you can advertise on funlake.com. That gets you about 50% more click-throughs to your website. Wow. It's huge. We also have this really cool travel tool called the Visit Widget, which is it really maps out your entire trip. It creates itineraries. You can share it with people. And the lake is extremely difficult to understand if you're from another area and you've never been down here. On a map, it may look like you can go from the west side of the lake to Lake Ozark like this, but on the Visit widget, it's going to tell you exactly how long it's going to take you. Wow. If you have an event on one end and you're staying on another end, or maybe you can find lodging closer to the event, it maps it all out for you.
That's neat.
So the Visit widget, so joining, you are getting all of that. You're getting that exposure. Then the Fun Lake, the visitor's guide, and the restaurant guide, you have to be a member to be on any of those things. So joining, you have the opportunity to be in those publications.
And those publications have a pretty extensive reach now, too.
Yeah, so we print 125,000 vacation guides. They go to all of the visitor centers, all of the AAA offices. They also are distributed locally to our members. They have racks, and the visitors, once they're here, can pick them up. We also mail out anywhere between 70 and 80,000 of people just saying, I'm coming, send me a book. So it is a true fulfillment piece. So if you want to be part of the planning process, you got to be in those books.
Yeah, I just love those books. Yeah. I know everybody down here at the lake kind of, in my opinion, thinks of them almost as a staple, like, something to kick off the summer season, spring season, a guide for where to go eat. I mean, I see them all over the place.
It truly is comprehensive. And, the event calendar. People love our event calendar.
I love the event calendar.
I mean, we truly have a comprehensive event calendar because we cover the 3 counties. So we will have everything you can think of on there. We have staff that actively work to make sure it's as up to date as it possibly can be.
I was going to say, when I used to work there, I know that the staff was really great about reaching out, making sure that they had the upcoming stuff correct, and really marketing that heavily. So that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. We're blessed to have that website for sure.
So your organization also helps and does a ton with local events here as well, with Lake of the Ozarks. You guys promote and do a lot yourselves. So can you share some of these upcoming events for our listeners that you have going into 2022?
So as I mentioned, go to funlake.com if you want a full comprehensive list, get more details. Really, they have websites listed, all that. But yes, funlake.com, great website to get all this. We do, our office, we all sit on different committees. So if there's an event at the lake, we've been involved with it on some capacity. However, there are some that we are more actively involved with than others. I personally am the president of Bike Fest, the Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest, which is a huge event that comes down every September. I'm on the committee for the Lake of the Ozarks Air Show, which is in Camdenton, Missouri.
I love that air show.
Yeah, it's huge. And they do it every other year, so it'll happen in 22. And then we have, the pub crawls coming up, which that's through the Lake Area Chamber. We used to be heavily active in that, and then the Chamber took that over, which is a great spot for it. And so they're active with that. We used to be really active in the light parks, and then the cities kind of took more of an active role on that, thankfully. This last year with the bicentennial birthday events, guess what? We were all part of it. So
really?
We sat, we got it all put together. We did the world record attempt for the largest boat parade. That was right out of our office.
Oh, wow.
Obviously with the help of a tremendous Army, MHQ, Mary Kay, Von Brindle, and all of them, and Casey over at the Chamber, Paige Jones at the Lake Area Chamber.
Them.
I mean, it took a collaborated effort. Legina at Tri-County also was a big help. So it was a group of us that put together that. We are actually, and this is leaking out right now, we're going to do a second attempt for that largest boat parade. We did not meet it. Yeah, we didn't meet it, but the Guinness person that came down said most people don't break a world record on the first attempt. They learn, and then typically the second attempt. Now, we don't know if this is just one heck of a coincidence or an actual legit thing that happened, but Malaysia currently holds the record with 1,180 boats. And there just happened to be 2 people that checked into the Wilmore Lodge. They wrote their name down from Malaysia during the boat parade.
Wow.
Not that they could see it from there, but they stopped there. So we were like, were they spying to see if we were going to take their world record or if they were going to hold on to it? But either way, they got to keep it another year. But we do have the regatta permit in process, and we're waiting on approval from that. And then once that happens, we've already changed up a whole bunch of things, but we are pretty confident that we're gonna break the record the second time around because we learned a lot. And so MHQ is gonna sponsor that again. They're our headlining sponsor, and so if it wasn't for them, we couldn't bring Guinness down because it's quite a big price tag. It's about $15,000, and they sponsor that. So.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah,
and I really hope that we do that because that would be cool.
Yeah, and then of course we have our harbor hops. We put on 2 within the Convention and Visitor Bureau. We have one in the spring, which is the first Saturday of May, and we have one in the fall, which is the second Saturday in October.
I will say I love the harbor hop event. It is so much fun.
Yes. Yeah, and it started, many people don't know this, we're full of history here. I feel like I'm like a history teacher right now, but it actually started with the marine dealers. It started with Randy Kelly at Kellysport.
Okay.
Back in the day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, you could almost just shut off the lights and turn it on those weekends. And he was like, how do we expand this? So he started the fall harbor hop to keep people at the lake longer. Don't winterize your boat, wait for harbor hop. And so the October one stemmed from that.
Yes.
Then when it kept growing and growing, he's like, this is beyond. So the marine dealers took it on. When the Marine Dealers Association got to a point where they're like, this is getting too big, the Convention and Visitor Bureau took it on. When we took it on, of course, we added the spring one because why not kick off the season and end the season with a harbor hop? So the fall one's been going on for about 45, 46 years, and the spring, it's only been going on for close to 30.
Now, remind me, the spring one, is that in March or May?
May. First Saturday of May. It's always during Magic Dragon Car Show.
Oh, okay.
But they're always on the same weekend. We never have a conflict on attendees, 2 totally separate type of niche events. So it's always great to just have more people at the lake. So
what was interesting about the harbor hop, just another insider peek, was I remember working the first one with the CVB, and we drove all over the west side because how you segregated out with people to go and make sure the places aren't needing anything and picking up cards and all of that. And I really got an eye-opening view of where things were on the lake, driving around. It was so much fun.
Yes. If you think every place at the lake, I would probably bet money that you do not. I will bet money on that because I have been promoting the Lake of the Ozarks now, and I don't want to say how many years because it's almost embarrassing. I feel old. But no, seriously though, for decades. And there are still places I have not been to. I have not been to. Our lake is massive. There are places that people can go to by boat, but they couldn't tell you how to get there by land. Or vice versa. So we are huge. We are an amazing, amazing, just beautiful piece of God's country here. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So I encourage people. I always tell them all the time, pick up a book and just start driving. Start driving. We have so many things just with the state park. Tunnel Dam. We have free places you can see, lookout points. If you've never been to those, grab a vacation guide, pick it up, and start making your circle, because just that alone, just driving in your car, you're going to learn so much.
Right. Well, and you guys still offer, in the vacation guide, you guys still put together a map too, right? In the center. Love that map. I have so many agents that utilize that map, even just to hang it on their wall and mark where places are. It's really smart idea.
Yeah.
The other question I had about Harbor Hop was, forgive me, just left my head. That people can, local businesses that are members and stuff, they can come and sit at a spot, correct? And help volunteer that.
Oh, absolutely. So it's a paid position. So we are, so what we do is you have to be a marina or a waterfront restaurant to participate, because the whole idea is it's a boating event.
Right.
So, however, we do get a lot of participants that drive, so that's fine too. You don't have to be in a boat to do it, but you do have to be, if you're a business, you have to be on the water to participate. So that's first and foremost. But then it takes about 100 people to make the event happen. So we have 100, roughly what we call dealers, that sit at each location and they deal cards. They have a blast. They get fed. It's an 8-hour shift. It's not long, and you get paid. We just upped the amount, so it's over $100 now. So each person gets. But yeah, you could easily choose to help, get paid, make some good money. We don't encourage people to necessarily promote their business while they're there.
Right.
But should you be wearing a shirt or a hat, that's okay.
That's awesome.
But you're not going to necessarily, have your own booth and promotional items, but absolutely, it's a great way to get in front of those. A lot of those are second homeowners or visitors. So if you're a contractor, or you're someone that's looking to grow your business, absolutely wear your shirt and tell me you want to work, and we'll put you in somewhere.
Heck yeah. Well, I just love that event. Just to transition a little bit to kind of one of your favorite subjects, but one of my very favorite things about you, Heather, is how you get really excited over numbers and understanding the analytics behind everything. So sometimes this can kind of overwhelm people a little bit, but I find it really fascinating. So when it comes to tourism and the last couple of years that we've had with COVID and things like that, do you have any interesting analytics about our area and kind of just tourism as a whole? Do you see it slowing down at all?
Not for a little while, first of all. So let's back up. Pre-COVID, 2019, pretty much our demographics for the Lake of the Ozarks was pretty standard. I mean, it really hadn't fluctuated, I would say, for many years. I mean, your behaviors, your age range, where people are coming from, pretty standard. I mean, you could almost bet money on it. Then when COVID hit, nobody knew what that was going to look like. And then when we opened, I have to give a huge shout out to our local government for putting our businesses first.
Right.
So no matter where you're at on the stance of COVID, it doesn't matter, because should we have closed down for a significant amount of time, we would have a bigger problem on our hands of people losing businesses, people moving out of the area. So regardless, they put our businesses first, which put livelihoods first, which put families first. So we do appreciate what our local government did and allowed. Granted, we still had restrictions. I mean, you still had to wear masks. You still had be conscious of what was going on. Now, how businesses chose to do business, that's on them once again. But from someone who lives here, it would have been detrimental should I have seen all these businesses go away. So I first have to say that and put that plug in. So that was our saving grace through COVID. I will say that. I meet monthly with all the Convention and Visitor Bureaus in the state of Missouri.
Oh, wow.
I'm one of the executive committee members for the CVB Association. And so hearing them and what they've went through and how their businesses took such a hit because they weren't open and they had such strong mandates, they aren't even recovered now.
Oh, no.
And so it is horrible to hear. So, we were unique. We were looked at. I went to a conference in June and they had me lead the roundtable because we thrived during COVID. We are one of the few destinations that did. So we were kind of the leader in that. And once again, all I could say was, It was our local government.
Wow,
it was our local government. They put our businesses first. And so, and when I say first, that doesn't mean over people, over human life. It means that they knew that by closing those businesses down, you would then be affecting all the people in the community. So let me clarify that a little bit. So backing up, because we are one of the only few places open and places were on strict mandates, we are so blessed, not only with the largest state park in the state of Missouri. We have 92 miles of a lake, 1,150 miles of shoreline, longer than the state of California. I mean, massive outdoors here.
That's crazy.
You can retreat down here, be outdoors, and be COVID safe.
Yeah.
You absolutely could. If you choose to not go in a restaurant, if you choose not to be around people, you could absolutely vacation here. You could rent a home. You could rent a condo. You could even be in a hotel room and choose to be very conscientious and retreat away from people. So there were so many options for people. So we saw the floodgates. As soon as everything opened and people saw that we were open, boom. Here they came.
Well, and it almost like sparked a little bit of bad publicity there for a second, but I felt like it was just like
PR is bad PR.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, it was crazy.
So it may have spiked bad publicity, but let me tell you what that did. It put us on a national platform.
Yes, it did.
Our marketing budget can only perform within a regional market. We do not have the budget and the funds to promote nationally.
Wow.
So we are within a drive market. That's how the people we promote to is going to be within a drive market. So once you get 2 and 3 states away, you have no idea what Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri is, okay? So when you fly up on TMZ or you make the morning show or something like that, now we're on a national platform. Now people are like, oh, they're going to start researching. And they may not go to an establishment they saw on there, but they're going to be like, wait, I can rent a home and be on a lake?
Right.
I'm COVID safe.
Right.
We started seeing people. So getting back to your question about analytics, I'm sorry I'm long.
No, I love it.
But basically, what we saw in that time frame is our entire demographic changed.
Wow.
We saw people coming to this area that wouldn't have been our normal customer before. And I'm not saying this in any way. The behaviors of people, the income levels of people were a lot lower, believe it or not.
Yep.
Because they were getting more government assistance, so they were taking that family vacation maybe they never would have otherwise been able to take.
Right.
So we were seeing a huge flux in the type of visitor that was coming to the lake. We were seeing people coming for longer periods of time because they could work remotely. We were seeing people come, even throughout the winter and throughout the fall because their kids didn't have to go in person in school.
Right.
So we were seeing like everything we knew about our visitor was basically thrown out and we got this new platform. So what we knew was that all we knew to do was just keep promoting Come to the Lake.
Right.
And open it to everybody. But in addition to that, it was also live at the lake.
Well, I know from a real estate standpoint, it's projected by several, industry leaders that this market itself is not going away for probably another 3 or 4 years. So
Correct.
I definitely think that we are just going to continue to see some high-end numbers,
Yes.
Go.
Yes. And, I've heard this is one of those, typically with a pandemic or anything that it affects people's livelihoods of a large scale like this, you'd start going into a recession. We have not. We honestly, yes, did it affect businesses? Sure, truly. Has it affected some communities within the state? Absolutely. In the nation? Absolutely. But as a whole, we have not hit a recession like I think everyone had anticipated. So
yeah, I think that was kind of
they thought it was going to ramp up and then quickly go down. And there's different types of recessions. There's ones that spike high and spike quickly. There's some that are more of a slow bell curve. I do think it'll take a couple years to level out. We obviously are going to have to pay back, all this money and things like that. But for the most part, when you're continually taking opportunities, in the states, when they're doing that well and they've got to spend the money, they're going to put it back into infrastructure. They're going to put it back into, I just came from a meeting where MoDOT gave a presentation on some of the projects they've got coming up the pipeline. And so they're taking advantage of those extra dollars and putting it back into our roads, putting it back into our bridges. And so, so we need that. We need that to thrive as a community. So.
Right. Well, one of your goals right now is to educate the local community and show your participation through your service work. So what does 2022 have in store for you to accomplish that?
Okay, so we're really excited. So this, when I came on board last December, I made it a point to, we were always helping and donating, but we never told our story. So I feel like this last year it was slowly letting people know that we are part of the community and supporting the community. And so I'm really hoping in 2022 to really ramp up that. Not only do we sit on a lot of committees and sit on boards of local charities, but I firmly on a personal level believe that giving to others is how we can bless others, and God uses us to do that. And so I constantly use it as just doing God's servant work. I mean, that's really truly what it is. And if we can have a platform through our work where we can also do God's work on a larger scale, I think that's just a blessing.
I do too.
We have to help those in our community. And that's just, we live here. And so so this past year, what we have done is every month we took a different charity, and the people within our office just donated. It wasn't through the CVB dollars. It was Heather taking her pocketbook and buying the items and bringing them in, and other people within the office doing the same. And each month we donated hundreds of dollars worth of stuff to different organizations in the community. And so I'm hoping that in 2022, not only can we continue that, but, see how we can be of a bigger assistance and impact to some of these communities, and what their needs are. And so once again, just telling the story, educating others in the community, hey, this is here. Because I had a couple people that I would have assumed would have known what charities that are here reach out and say, hey, what are some charities we could partner with? And I'm like, whoa, I didn't realize how many people didn't know what's out there, basically. So my job is also going to be to just educate people. These are opportunities for you to get involved with. Get your businesses involved. There is always something out there to be a part of, and charities should be one of your top ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The ability to give back is amazing.
Yes.
And I know that there are a lot of organizations, ours included, with our community foundation through REMAX Lake of the Ozarks, that's our top goal, to bring awareness.
Absolutely. I mean, it's where you live.
Yeah.
It's where you live.
So I know through some of my personal history with the CVB, and this might be kind of a tough question, but that you were all a big part of things like the shooting of the opening credits for the Netflix series Ozarks.
Yes.
You also do a lot with boat shows, air shows, Bike Fest, and more that we've kind of talked about. But what, if you can answer, what are some cool things that you are doing that not a lot of people know about?
Okay, so that is hard.
I know. I'm so sorry.
So I can do a mile high view of it. So we are typically one of the first stops for pretty much every large development in the community.
Really?
So a lot of people don't realize that too, is that in our mission statement, economic development's one of the top focuses that we have. So not only do we want to bring tourism, but we firmly believe by growing your community. And by growing it, I don't want to change the feel. We love that we're kind of this small hometown feel, right? We don't want to be a city. That's what makes us unique. But we do need to take advantage of, if you have dilapidated buildings, that you let them, you bring in the right people that they then can invest and make it back to what it needed to be. I'm not saying you're putting in lots of high risers and, going crazy, but we have a lot of untapped potential that's existing that should be utilized. And so we get contacted on a regular basis from different developers all over the nation asking for, just different information. And it's a lot of the same stuff we talked about, visitor information. And, we've had studies done on convention hotels and things like that. So long story short, I have a lot of that data. And so I get reached out to on a regular basis. I will tell you, there are a lot of people coming together to really focus on dilapidated areas.
Wow. I love that, though, because like you were saying, it's such an untapped kind of market with existing structures.
Yes. And I mean, most people already know, because it came out in the news that, the mall is being revamped and that's going through. And so, having that, just a new facelift, we're not making the lake, anything it's not already. It's just making it more useful to the visitors. So that's going to be a huge project for us. I know the Council of Local Governments, I've been working, talking with them, giving them some data. They have some people that are looking at a comprehensive marketing plan for the whole Strip, Bagnell Dam area. Most people know about that, so I can say that publicly. So they're looking at making that whole corridor, that Business 54, just really ramped up and using its full potential is really all that is. Cleaning up the Strip. And when I say cleaning up, there's no public bathrooms. Like, there's no parking. There's no, so really making it as effective use of space as it possibly can be. So they're looking at that. We have, of course, different housing developers that are coming down that are wanting to do like workforce housing, and they've had multiple meetings on that. So they're trying to ramp something up down here. We also have, I think everybody knows about Osage Nation trying to come in. That once again, it's they say it's finalized, but it's not. We know down here at the lake, especially you guys being in real estate, it's not final until the dirt's actually digging. Yeah. So there's still about 1.5 years out on that. There's still some things they have to jump through. Really cool though when it's done. Well, it split the community, honestly. Yeah. As a CVB, we can't we could. Our board has decided not to take a stance on it at this time. However, I will say, there's definitely pros and cons to any development, whether it's a condo development, whether it's a casino, whether it's, there's always, pros and cons. So there's just a lot of things happening. Unfortunately, I do sit on the Lake of the Ozarks Regional Economic Development Council. Unfortunately, a lot of major developments coming you can't speak about until they make it public. So we do sign a lot of confidentiality agreements. So unfortunately, I can't speak on a lot of things. I will tell you this, going back to MoDOT, they do have a couple things earmarked. Highway 5 over by Hurricane Elementary. Yeah. They're looking at expanding Highway 5, which would be huge for us. They're also looking at 54 here in Camdenton because there's a lot of congestion and different things happening there. So they're looking at that as well and how they can remedy that. They're also looking at, and this does affect us, the Kingdom City area. Maybe looking at, they don't know for sure, they're still exploring, but maybe even like a diamond type concept there. You can see that concept in Branson. I know Columbia has it. It's unique. It's where, the road kind of zigzags over. You're going on the wrong side of the road for a second, and then you're back off. I'm always like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm following the path.
I feel like I'm in Europe.
I know. But it's wonderful because it does create less opportunity to turn in front of people and create any sort of traffic hiccups. So they are looking at certain options like that down here. All of these things are huge for us. They're really huge. I will say I just came from a conference where Columbia mentioned that they're looking at doing another direct flight into their airport. That's also huge for us because the Columbia Airport, the Springfield Airport, those are huge, huge airports for our community, especially with conventions and different things we have going on. So anytime we're always looking at those sister communities as well to see how does that affect us. And so that does affect us. So we're going to be following that pretty closely and see how they're marketing that and how those flights are coming in. So once again, it's really hard to say specific things that are happening. No, but what I can tell you is that there is a lot of people looking, and a lot of people are looking at existing structures, which is what I'm excited about.
Me too.
So that's what we want. We want that. Of course, having Camdenton expand their airport was huge for our community. Bike Fest alone, we had a gentleman who had a private jet that could never fly into Camdenton, and once they expanded it, that was his first time flying in. He flew in buddies. They had their bikes brought up by semis, and then they did Bike Fest for the week.
Oh, cool.
All because of the Camdenton Airport got expanded. So little things like that's really cool that, you're not changing the dynamic of our community in the sense that we still have that small hometown feel, but you're just making it a little bit better. So I'm really excited about that. But I will tell you, I think with a lot of the ARPA funds that the government's trying to decide how those are going to be dispersed. The government has done a lot of grants over the last couple of years. It's giving these developers even more incentive to move forward with projects that they may have been holding off on.
I am so extremely excited about all of that.
That'll continue.
Yeah. Okay, last question.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of a hard one for you to answer.
Okay.
But what are some of your personal favorite things about being a local here at Lake of the Ozarks?
Oh my gosh. So here's what I love about the Lake of the Ozarks in general. I love that I can go on one side of the lake and feel like I'm in total rural, like Missouri, like farming, agriculture. You can go to rodeos, you have that whole feel. And then I love that you can go to another area and totally feel like you're part of the hustle bustle, the visitors, you can go to like a live music, you can go to a concert. It feels more alive. I love that. Yes. I love that we're dynamic. I really, truly do. So once again, I give terrible answers because I just go off on these rants. I don't give you specifics, which I feel like is terrible, but I love the feel of it. It feels like home, like when you're driving, it gets dark at freaking 5 o'clock right now, but when you're driving across the Grand Glaze and you see the lights lighting up, does that not feel like home? Like it's just a blessing. And I love that we have so much free stuff. You don't even have to have money. Yes. You can come here. You could spend days at Hahatonka. You could be paddleboarding. You could be kayaking. You could be, going to Tunnel Dam. You can go to creeks. You can go to the public beaches. Everything's free. I mean, you don't have to have a huge budget. Now, if you want to just go hog wild, of course we have something for everybody. I've been to a ton of the concerts at Ozark Amphitheater. I've been to every restaurant at the lake, I'm pretty sure. My kids take advantage of all of the attractions. So, I mean, we love all things the lake. But one of the things I truly, truly, truly do love is the fact that there is something for everyone. I mean, there can be a Saturday where I'm not even kidding. I've been on the water in the day. I've been to the racetrack at night. I've went to, listen to live music or done an event, and then I went and did a rodeo that afternoon. I mean, not that I'm in a rodeo. I just want to state that I watch. But I love that we're dynamic. I love that you can truly, have anything. My husband's grandparents, they have a huge cattle farm, But then we have other people that live right on the lake. So, I mean, it's just the awesomeness that we have something for everyone. I think you can fall in love with the lake, and if you don't want to be around a lot of people, you have that option. If you want that excitement, you have that option. So I love that. That's my favorite thing.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, we appreciate you coming on and sharing so much about the CVB and all that you're doing for the community and businesses here at Lake of the Ozarks. I know I personally am very excited for all that you do and cannot wait to take part in some of these awesome things coming up in this year. Make sure to follow CVB on Facebook, and that's an @FunLake on Facebook or online at funlake.com. To catch more of our podcasts, you can find us on all of our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's tons of them out there, and also on 89.3 FM and Key Radio. So, and remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire, and we'll catch you next time.